After discovering my husband's affair with my best friend, he tried to convince me that forgiveness was the only way to save our marriage, but I chose my dignity and walked away. Not some cheap motel. Not her apartment. Our bed. The sheets I'd picked out for our 5th wedding anniversary. The mattress where I'd cried happy tears when the pregnancy test showed 2 lines last year before the miscarriage broke us both. Maya was still wearing the bracelet I'd given her for her birthday 3 months ago. The silver one with Sisters Forever engraved on it. She was straddling my husband, her auburn hair cascading down her back the same way it did when we were teenagers sharing secrets and dreams. I'd come home early from my business trip. Surprise, honey. Surprise me. They didn't see me at first. I stood frozen in the doorway, car keys still in my hand, watching my entire world crumble in real time. 7 years of marriage. 15 years of friendship with Maya. All of it disintegrating in the span of a heartbeat. When they finally noticed me, the silence was deafening. Maya scrambled for the sheets, her face flushed with shame and something else. Defiance maybe. Jake just sat there and exposed, looking at me like I was the one who'd done something wrong. Sarah, I can explain, he said, and I wanted to laugh. What possible explanation could there be for this? How long? My voice came out as a whisper. Sarah, Acho lunge. I screamed at this time and Maya flinched. 6 months? Maya said quietly. At least she had the decency not to lie. 6 months. Half a year of secret texts, stolen moments, and elaborate lies. 6 months of me planning Maya's surprise birthday party, of double dates where they probably played footsie under the table while I babbled about work stress and Jake's promotion. I thought about all the times Maya had come over for and girl talk, listening to me complain about Jake working late again, about how distant he'd become. She'd nod sympathetically and tell me all men go through phases. She'd hug me and promise everything would work out. She was sleeping with him the entire time. Sarah, please. Jake was pulling on his boxers, moving toward me. It's not what think, it's exactly what I think. I backed away from him. Don't touch me. We didn't plan this, it just happened. One night when we're at Mother's. Stop talking. The numbness was wearing off, replaced by a rage so pure it scared me. Just stop talking. Maya was fully dressed now, clutching her purse like a shield. Sarah, I'm so sorry. We never meant for to find out like this. Not that they never meant to me, that they never meant to get caught. Get out, I said to Maya. Get out of my house. She hesitated, looking between Jake and me. Maybe we should all talk. Gee tote. I my keys at her. They hit the wall next to her head and clattered to the floor. Get out before I do something we'll all regret. Maya fled. I heard her heels clicking down our hardwood stairs, heard the front door slam. Heard her car start and drive away, taking 15 years of friendship with her. Jake was trying to put on his shirt. Sarah, we need to talk about this rationally. Rationally. I laughed, and it sounded hysterical even to me. Want to talk rationally about screwing my best friend in our bed? It's not about, we have feelings for each other. Somehow that made it worse. If it had been a moment of weakness, maybe I could have understood it. But feelings. That meant conversations, emotional intimacy, a whole relationship I knew nothing about. How many lies have told me? I asked. How many times did look me in the eye and lie? He couldn't answer that. We both knew the number would be too high to count. I walked to our closet and started pulling out his clothes, throwing them on the floor. Suits, casual shirts, the sweater I'd given him last Christmas. Everything had to go. What are doing? Don't live here anymore. I grabbed an armful of his clothes and headed for the stairs. Made choice. Sarah, stop. We can work through this. Couples survive infidelity all the time. I paused at the top of the stairs. Do they? Do they really survive it? Or do they just exist in a broken version of what they used to have? I his clothes down the stairs and went back for more. He followed me, still talking, still trying to minimize what he'd done. It's over with Maya. I'll end it right now. We can go to counseling. We can fix this. Can't unring a bell, Jake. I grabbed his toiletries from our bathroom. Can't unfuck my best friend. Don't be crude. I spun around to face him. Cheated on me for 6 months with the person I trusted most in the world, and worried about me being crude. The went out of him then. His shoulders sighed, and for the first time, he looked genuinely sorry. But sorry wasn't enough. Sorry couldn't undo the betrayal, couldn't erase the images now burned into my brain. I love Sarah. I've always loved Bao. No, I said, my voice steady now. Love the idea of me. Love having a wife who cooks favorite meals and does laundry and doesn't ask too many questions when work late. But don't love me. If love me couldn't have done this. I finished packing his things in garbage bags. It felt appropriate. Our marriage was trash now anyway. He stood in our bedroom doorway as I stripped the bed, throwing the sheets into another garbage bag. Where am I supposed to go? I don't care. Maya's place maybe. Oh wait. She's probably already there planning next move. That's not fair. Fair. I looked at him like he'd lost his mind. Want to talk about fair? My phone buzzed. A text from my sister. How was the trip? Call me when get home. How was I supposed to explain this? How was I supposed to tell everyone that my marriage was over, that my best friend had betrayed me in the worst possible way? The thought of telling people, of seeing the pity in their eyes made my stomach churn. Our families were close. Our friend groups were intertwined. This wouldn't just destroy my marriage, it would my entire social. People are gonna know. I said more to then to him. We don't have to tell anyone anything. We can figure this out privately. Think this stays private. Think Maya isn't going to tell someone. Think people won't notice when move out. The reality of it hit me like a truck. Tomorrow I'd have to start making phone calls. I'd have to explain to my parents why Jake wasn't coming to Sunday dinner anymore. I'd have to tell my coworkers why I was suddenly working late every night to avoid an empty house. I'd have to tell our mutual friends, watch them choose sides, lose half of them in the process. Jake's things were packed. 5 garbage bags of a 7-year marriage. It seemed pathetic when looked at it that way. I'll get the rest later, he said, shouldering 2 of the bags. No, get it all now. I'm changing the locks tomorrow, Sarah. No, Jake, all of it. It took 3 trips to his car. I watched from the window as he loaded his into his Honda Civic. Such a mundane ending to everything we'd built together. He stood by his car for a long time, looking at our house. Probably hoping I'd come running out, tell him we could work through this. That love conquers all. I didn't move from the window. I wouldn't give him that satisfaction. When he finally drove away, I sank to the floor and sobbed. Not pretty movie star tears, gut-wrenching sobs that left me gasping for air. My phone rang. Maya's name on the screen. I let it go to voicemail, then listened to her message. Sarah, I know me right now and have every right to. But please, let's talk. We've been friends for so long. There has to be a way to fix this. I love him. And I know that sounds impossible, but maybe we can all find a way to. I deleted the message before she finished. Love me and love him. Like we were all gonna hold hands and sing Kumbaya around the campfire of my destroyed marriage. The house felt different now, smaller somehow. Every corner held a memory that was now tainted. The couch where Jake and I used to watch movies was where he probably texted Maya while I made popcorn in the kitchen. The dining room where we'd hosted dinner parties was where Maya had sat across from us, smiling and laughing while carrying on an affair with my husband. I poured a glass of the good stuff I'd been saving for our anniversary next month, and tried to figure out what came next. Divorce, obviously, but the thought of it made me nauseous. Splitting assets, dealing with lawyers, explaining to everyone why our picture-perfect marriage had imploded. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Jakey. I'm staying at the Marriott downtown. Room 402 if wanna talk. I turned off my phone. I sat in my empty house, drinking that was supposed to celebrate 7 years of marriage, and tried to figure out how I'd been so blind. The signs had been there. I just hadn't wanted to see them. Jake's phone face, down during dinner. Maya being too busy to out as much lately. The way they both seemed to avoid eye contact when we were all together. I'd been living in a fool's paradise, trusting the 2 people who were systematically destroying my behind my back. The worst part wasn't the cheating itself. It was the betrayal of trust. Jake had been my person, the one I told everything to. Maya had been my safe space, my chosen family. Together, they'd been my entire support system. Now they were gone and I was alone in a way I'd never been alone before. I finished and opened another bottle. Tomorrow I'd have to be strong. Tomorrow I'd have to start picking the pieces. But tonight I was going to fall apart completely. Because sometimes falling apart is the only honest response to having world destroyed. I woke on the couch with a that felt like divine punishment and 17 missed calls. My sister, my mom, Jake's mom, 3 calls from Maya, 2 from Jake himself. Even my boss had called. Apparently Jake had contacted my office claiming there was a family emergency, and I wouldn't be in today. The audacity was breathtaking. He destroyed our marriage and now he was managing my schedule. I called work first. Professional damage control before personal apocalypse. Sarah. Oh, thank God, are okay. Jake said there was an accident. No accident, Michelle. Jake and I are getting divorced. I'll be in this afternoon. Silence. Then, oh honey, I'm so sorry. Take the day. Take the week if needed. I need normal right now. I'll see you at 1. Next call my sister Emma. Sarah, finally. What happened? Jake called mom crying, saying kicked him out over a misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding. My voice cracked. I caught him cheating. With Maya, the silence stretched so long I thought the call had dropped. Maya, our Maya. Apparently she was never my Maya. Oh my God. Sarah, I'm so sorry. I'm coming over. Not yet. I need to think. But Emma was already grabbing her keys. I could hear her in the background. Thinking, shouldn't be alone right now. While I waited for Emma, I forced to shower and put on real clothes. The woman in the mirror looked like she'd been hit by a truck, but at least she was vertical. Jake had texted 6 more times, please just listen to me. This is all wrong. Let me explain. I'm coming over. We need to talk. Maya feels terrible. We both do. Don't make any permanent decisions when we're emotional. I love. That has to count for something. The last text made me throw my phone across the room. Emma arrived with coffee and the grim expression of someone preparing for war. She took one look at me and wrapped me in a hug that almost broke my fragile composure. Everything, so I did. Every horrible detail. The bed, the bracelet, Maya's defiance, Jake's pathetic excuses. Emma listened without interrupting, her face getting darker with each sentence. 6 months, she said finally. 6 months of lying to face. The worst part is how I feel. All those times Maya came over for girl talks, listening to me worry about Jake being distant. She was the reason he was distant. Or not, trusted people who should have been trustworthy. My phone rang. Don't answer it? Emma said. I answered it anyway. Maybe I was a glutton for punishment. Sarah, thank God. We need to talk? We have nothing to talk about. Yes, we do. I know. I laughed bitterly. I'm destroyed, Jake. There's a difference, I understand. But we can't throw away 7 years over one mistake. One mistake means 6 months of mistakes. Emma was making slashing motions across her throat, telling me to, look, Jake said, his voice taking on that reasonable tone he used when he thought I was being irrational. I know this looks bad, but Maya and I, we never meant for it to happen. It just did. And yes, it went on longer than it should have. But it's over now. It's over because I caught. I would have ended anyway. I was going to tell Pine, when, on our 10th anniversary, our 20th, soon. I was waiting for the right time. There is no right time to destroy someone's, Jake. I'm not trying to destroy, I'm trying to save our marriage. The entitlement in his voice made my boil, like he was doing me a favor by wanting to work things out after betraying me in the worst possible way. Or marriage is already dead. Killed it. No, it's not, Couples recover from affairs all the time. We can go to counseling, we can rebuild trust. How? How exactly do we rebuild trust when proven her a liar? By working at it, by me being transparent from now on, be choosing to forgive. There it was, the word that would haunt me for months, forgiveness. I think forgiveness is a choice make for us, for our future. Emma was shaking her head, mouthing, over and over, what about Maya? I asked. Is she part of this future planned out? Maya was a mistake, or my wife, or who I want to be with, but didn't want to be with just me for the past 6 months. That's not, Sarah, please, can I come over? We can't fix this over the phone. There's nothing to fix, there's everything to fix. Our marriage, our together, our plans. What plans? The plans made while we're sleeping with my best friend. Don't be like this.
Like what? Angry?
Unwilling to pretend this didn't happen. Unforgiving, the word hit me like unforgiving, like my inability to immediately absolve him of his betrayal was a character flaw. Know what, Jake? Right, I am unforgiving. I don't forgive liars. I don't forgive cheaters, and I sure as don't forgive people who think their betrayal is my problem to solve. I hung. Emma was staring at me with something like admiration. Good for. He's gonna keep calling. Then we'll turn off phone. But it wasn't just Jake. Over the next few hours the calls kept coming. Jake's mother, crying about how divorce was a sin and couldn't we work things out. My mother, asking what I'd done to drive Jake away. Our mutual friends trying to get the real story, because Jake was telling everyone I'd overreacted to a brief indiscretion. 6 months was brief to him. The worst call came from Maya at around 3. Sarah, please don't. I wanted to. But some sick part of me needed to hear what she had to say. I know me, she continued, but we've been best friends since we were 16. That has to count for something. It counted for something. That's why this hurts so much. I never meant for it to happen, have to believe me. How does 6 months of betrayal just happen, Maya? It started as friendship. Jake was lonely, we're working so much. Don't dare blame me for this. I'm not blaming. I'm trying to explain. Explain what? How comfort my lonely husband right into bed? I wasn't like that. We talked first for months. He was unhappy? So instead of telling him to talk to his wife, decided to sleep with him. I fell in love with him, Sarah. I didn't want to, but I did. The casual way she said it, like falling in love with married men, was as unavoidable as catching a cold. Fell in love with my husband. While pretending to be my friend. I'm still friend. I'll always be friend. Friends don't sleep with each other's husbands, Maya. I know are angry. I'm not angry. I'm done. With him, with all of this. Can't be done, we've been through everything together. High school, college. I was maid of honor. And now the reason I need a divorce lawyer. Sarah, please, Jake loves. He wants to fix this. If could just find it in heart to forgive. Why does everyone think forgiveness is something I owe him? Because marriage is about forgiveness. It's about choosing love even when it's hard. I wanted to scream. Everyone had become a marriage counselor overnight, dispensing wisdom about forgiveness and second chances while I sat in the wreckage of my. Know what marriage is really about, Maya? Trust, and Jake destroyed that. Trust can be rebuilt. Not by me. I'm not spending the rest of my wondering who are texting, where really are when say working late, whether the woman sitting across from me at dinner is sleeping with my husband. That won't happen again. Right, it won't. Because I won't be married to him anymore. I hung and turned off my phone. Emma made dinner while I sat in my kitchen staring at nothing. The house felt like a museum now. All these artifacts of it that no longer existed. Wedding photos on the refrigerator, vacation souvenirs on the windowsill, a grocery list in Jake's handwriting still stuck to the cabinet. Need to eat? Emma said, setting a plate in front of me. I need to call a lawyer. Food first, then lawyers. But I couldn't eat. Every bite tasted like ash. Emma ate for both of us while I googled divorce attorneys on her phone. The reviews for this one are good, I said, showing her a law firm's website. She specializes in high conflict divorces. Is that what this is? High conflict. Jake thinks we can work it out. Maya thinks we can work it out. Everyone thinks forgiveness is the answer. So yeah, I'd say there's gonna be conflict. Emma's phone rang. Jake's name on the screen. He's calling now. I asked. I'll handle it. Emma answered. Jake, don't. No. She doesn't want to talk to. Because cheated on her with her best friend, absolute. She walked into the living room, still arguing with him. I could hear pieces of the conversation. 6 months isn't a mistake, it's a choice. She doesn't owe anything. Stop calling her family. When she came back, her face was flushed with anger. He wants me to convince to go to counseling with him. What did tell him? I told him if he contacts or anyone in our family again, I'd make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of man he really is. He's already spinning the story, making himself the victim. Let him spin. The truth has a way of coming out. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying conversations, looking for signs I'd missed. Jake saying he loved me while planning his next rendezvous with Maya. Maya hugging me goodbye after girls' nights that were really just intelligence gathering missions. How long had they laughed about me behind my back? How many inside jokes did they have about the clueless wife who never suspected a thing? At 2 am, I got and started packing Maya's things. The sweater she'd left here last month, a book she'd borrowed, the spare key I'd given her for emergencies. Everything went into a box marked, Ron to Sendar. I'd drop it at her apartment tomorrow. Consider it the final period at the end of our friendship. My phone, which I turned back on, buzzed with another text from Jake Lee. I know need time to process this, but please don't make any permanent decisions while we're emotional. What we have is too precious to throw away over one mistake. I love, and I know love me too. That love can get us through anything if let it. Please just think about counseling. For us, I stared at that message for a long time. One mistake. There it was again, his narrative that 6 months of betrayal was just a momentary lapse in judgment, and the assumption that my love for him should override my need for dignity and self-respect. The truly insidious part was how reasonable he made it sound. Like choosing divorce over reconciliation was the emotional, irrational choice. Like walking away from someone who'd betrayed me was giving too easily. But I wasn't giving, I was choosing. For the first time in months, maybe years, I was putting my own needs first instead of managing everyone else's feelings. It felt terrifying and liberating at the same time. I deleted Jake's message without responding and made a cup of tea. Tomorrow I'd call the lawyer. Tomorrow I'd start building that didn't include people who thought love meant accepting betrayal. Tonight, I'd sit with my decision and remember what it felt like to choose my own dignity over everyone else's comfort. The divorce papers were served 3 weeks later. Jake called immediately, his voice shaking. Sarah, what I've done. I've chosen. Or making the biggest mistake of bow. No, Jake. Already made that mistake. I'm just cleaning the mess. The legal proceedings were brutal. Jake fought everything. The house, the savings account, even the car. His lawyer painted me as vindictive, unwilling to work on the marriage, abandoning a man who'd made one error in judgment. Error in judgment. That was the phrase du jour now. But I had something they didn't expect. Screenshots. Maya had been sloppy with her phone, leaving it unlocked during our girls' nights. I'd seen the message previews though I'd never clicked them, never wanted to believe what I was seeing. Now those screenshots told the real story. 6 months of planning meetups, professing love, making fun of the oblivious wife, who kept inviting Maya over for dinner. Jake's lawyer stopped fighting so hard after that. The worst part wasn't the legal battle. It was watching our social circle implode. Our mutual friends were forced to choose sides, and most chose the couple over the singleton. Jake and Maya were easier to include in group activities. Less awkward for dinner parties. I lost Sarah and Tom Henderson, who'd been our couple friends for 4 years. Lost Mark and Jessica from our book club. Lost the entire Sunday brunch crew. It's nothing personal. Jessica told me over coffee, her voice thick with false sympathy. It's just easier when everyone can be civil. As if I was the one disrupting civility by refusing to smile and pretend everything was fine. I understand, I said, because what else could I say? That watching them choose my cheating ex-husband and backstabbing ex-best friend over me felt like being betrayed all over again. Some friends surprised me. Rachel from work, who barely knew Jake, became my fiercest defender. Good for her, she said when I told her I'd filed for divorce. It's too short to spend it with people who don't respect. But Rachel couldn't replace an entire social network. Friday nights became Netflix and takeout. Weekends became solo grocery shopping and avoiding restaurants where I might run into people from my old. The house sold faster than expected. Too many memories anyway. I bought a small condo across town, new neighborhood, new beginning, new me. Maya tried to contact me one last time before I moved. She showed at my door at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday, looking like she'd been crying for days. Please, she said before I could close the door. Just 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I let her in. The house looks so empty. She said, looking around at the packed boxes. It is empty. Everything real is already gone. Sarah, I know me, but I need to know. This isn't how I wanted things to end. How did want them to end, Maya? With me graciously stepping aside so could have my husband guilt-free.
No, I
thought maybe we could all share him, take turns, set a schedule. She flinched. I thought maybe you'd understand that love isn't always simple. Love. I laughed and it came out harsh and bitter. Think this is about love, isn't it? No, Maya, this is about selfishness. This is about 2 people who wanted what they wanted and didn't care who they destroyed to get it. That's not fair. Fair. I shook my head. Want to know what's not fair? Losing my husband and my best friend in the same day. Losing half my friends because they find my pain inconvenient. Starting over at 30, too, because the 2 people I trusted most decided their happiness was worth more than my. Never meant to get caught. There's a difference. She stood there for a long moment, and I could see she was waiting for something. Forgiveness maybe. Absolution. Some sign that we could somehow salvage something from the wreckage. I didn't give it to her. I'm getting married, she said finally. The words hit me like a physical. She nodded. To Jake's month. Nothing big. Just, get out, Sarah. Gee, ooh, I screamed it, and she ran. Next month, they'd been planning a wedding while I was still processing the divorce. I sat in my empty living room surrounded by boxes and cried until I had nothing left. The wedding announcement appeared in the local paper 2 weeks later. A small ceremony, family only. Maya Henderson wore her grandmother's dress. Jake looked happy in the photo, his arm around his new bride in front of the courthouse steps. The same courthouse where our divorce had been finalized 3 days earlier. I stopped reading the social media posts after that. Stopped torturing with updates about their new together. Stopped caring what our old friends thought about my overreaction to Jake's mistake. But the damage was done, the isolation was real. I into work, got promoted twice in 6 months, made new friends, slowly and carefully, started dating again, though I found it hard to trust anyone completely. The first time a new guy's phone buzzed during dinner, my heart rate spiked. When my new friend Lisa mentioned having coffee with my ex-colleague, I immediately wondered if she was keeping secrets from me too. Maya and Jake had broken something in me that went deeper than just our relationships. They'd shattered my ability to believe in people's basic goodness. A year later, I ran into Jake at the grocery store. He looked older, tired in a way that had nothing to do with physical exhaustion. Sarah, he said, seeming genuinely surprised to see me. Jake, look good, happy. I wasn't, but I'd learned to it. How's married? I asked, because some part of me needed to know if their betrayal had been worth it. He paused, seeming to choose his words carefully. It's complicated. Complicated how? Maya's insecure. She thinks I'm going to cheat on her like I cheated on. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. Turns out when build a relationship on betrayal, trust doesn't come easy. I should have felt vindicated, instead I just felt sad. I'm sorry to hear that, I said and meant it. Sorry. I'm sorry you're unhappy. I'm not sorry I chose dignity over forgiveness. He nodded slowly. For what it's worth, I think made the right choice. What do you mean? I mean you're better off without someone who could do what I did, deserved better than me. It was the first honest thing he'd said to me since I'd caught them together, yeah. I said. I did. I walked away from him then, past the produce section where we used to shop together for Sunday dinners, past the cereal aisle where we'd argued about healthy choices versus Lucky Charms. In the parking lot, I sat in my car for a long time not crying, just processing. Jake's admission should have felt like closure. Instead, it felt like confirmation of something I'd already known, that choosing over everyone else's expectations had been the right call, even if it had cost me everything. Because everything I'd lost, the marriage, the friendships, the social I'd built, had been built on lies anyway. 2 years later, Maya and Jake divorced. I heard about it through the grapevine, the same people who'd chosen them over me now gossiping about their spectacular failure. She caught him cheating. Rachel told me over lunch. With the coworker this time, I didn't feel satisfaction, I didn't feel vindicated, I just felt tired, because the truth was choosing dignity hadn't made me happy, it had made me alone. But alone with my self-respect intact was still better than together with people who saw my pain as an inconvenience and my standards as unreasonable expectations. I'd built a new, smaller than my old one, lonelier, but entirely my own. No one in my new had the power to destroy me the way Jake and Maya had, because I'd never again give anyone that much of. It wasn't the fairy tale ending people wanted to hear. There was no triumphant comeback, no perfect new relationship, no moment where I thanked them for setting me free to find real happiness. There was just me, learning to be okay with my own company, building a where my dignity wasn't negotiable. Most people wouldn't call that a happy ending. But after everything I'd been through, it was enough. The real tragedy wasn't that my husband cheated or that my best friend betrayed me. It was that they taught me never to trust like that again, never to love someone enough to let them destroy me. And that lesson, necessary as it was for my survival, had cost me something precious, that I'd never get back: the ability to believe that people are fundamentally good, that love conquers all, that trust once broken can be rebuilt. I'd chosen dignity over forgiveness. Her indignity was cold comfort on the nights when I realized that protecting had meant closing off from ever being truly vulnerable again. But some betrayals don't just end relationships, they end the part of that believed in relationships at all.